Hello, it's Davina here, spiritual care lead at St Oswald's Hospice. Welcome to my home. I'm working from home today. St Oswald's is obviously still open and we're still caring for people, but obviously those of us who can are working from home when we're able. And you'd be glad to know I have actually got out of my pyjamas and put some clothes on today before coming to talk to you. And I'm here to talk about Dying Matters Week. Now, normally during this week in May, we would be holding some events at the hospice, like death cafes, and encouraging those of you who want to come in and talk about death and dying. But obviously the current situation, our visiting is really restricted. We can't have you in with us. So we thought that actually it would be a good idea to use the wizardry of modern technology to come and talk to you. We just want to reach out to our wonderful supporters to let you all know that we're here and we're still thinking about you. And I'd like to say a very special hello to any of our patients and their families who might have joined us today. So I said, this is the first time I've done this, so I'm a bit nervous. But we're here to talk about Dying Matters Week, and that is usually an opportunity for people to talk about death and dying in a way that's safe, and to have those honest and open discussions that we find difficult to do so. And I think all of us still find it quite difficult to talk about. It's not something that comes naturally to us, I don't think. We might think that talking about illness, death, bereavement is a bit morbid. It might be that it makes us feel a bit uncomfortable and upset. And I think that's quite understandable. And I know it's good to talk about the practical things, what our future wishes might be about our care. It might be that we want to talk about what our funeral wishes are. But also talking about that means that we actually have to think about life without us, or maybe life without the ones that we really love, and that's tricky and very emotional. But I'm going to tell you a genuine story that happened to me. My mum, when she was getting older, mum died about 15, 17 years ago. And as she was getting older, she started to have little conversations. She would say things like to me and my sister, if I get dementia, just put us in a home. And she would often say, and when I die, I just want to be in a cardboard box and buried in the garden. And I would say, Mum, I don't want to talk about that. And I didn't, because it was really painful to think about a time when she wouldn't be with me. But kind of through the work that I do, I realised that I'd just shut down a lot of conversations that perhaps she needed to have, that it was an act of love. That she was, the reason she was wanting to talk about that, she wanted to let me and my sister know what our wishes were, and that she didn't want to be a burden to us if she did get ill and we couldn't look after her. And I'm sorry, Mum, that I didn't have those conversations with you, because when she did die, and she died quite suddenly, I had no idea whether she wanted to be buried or cremated. And I found that difficult. So on a personal level, I do see the benefit of being able to have some of those practical conversations. We can have them once, we can write it down, we can put our wishes in our knicker drawer until the time comes where we needed them. But I'm very aware that even though we don't like talking about illness, death and dying and bereavement, that actually we're all talking about it at the minute. With the pandemic, we switch on our TV, put the radio on, social media, everything seems to be about death and dying. And I think that makes us, as humans, very anxious, that we're having to confront some of this in a way that perhaps we wouldn't have done before. And I just wanted to say that those feelings are really normal. And I think a lot of people will be feeling feeling the very same. And if you can have conversations with somebody about it, about how you're feeling, or if it makes you want to think, actually, oh, I really do want to let people know what I want, should the worst happen, should I become ill, should I die, then I would encourage you to have those conversations if you can. And if there's anything that we can do at St Oswald's to help you have those conversations, just get in touch by our email, or you know, you can give us a ring. And this is an awful situation. COVID-19 has affected our lives in ways that none of us could have predicted. And it's affecting our death too. It's not happening in the way that we'd want it to happen. Perhaps some of you out there have lost loved ones during this, and maybe the chance to be with them when they died, that's not been possible. Or you've just been really limited to the number of people who can see people. And again, I think this can lead to really horrible feelings that really impact on the grief we're already feeling, feelings of we've not done the best for the people that we love. And even though rationally we know that it's not our fault, I think a lot of us are going to have different things to deal with because of this crisis. And it's affecting funerals. I've done 3 funerals since lockdown, and they've been very, very different to the way that I've done funerals in the past. I'm not able to go and visit families and sit with them and have a cup of tea and look at pictures and talk about their loved ones' lives and share the memories and have a laugh and have a little bit of a cry. None of that's happening, and you can't always do that with your family now. You can talk about that within your households, but there's families who aren't in the same region who would normally come and get together and talk about things, and that's impossible. And it's not always the same being able to do that by Facebook or by Zoom or by phone. Funerals themselves are very different. The churches are closed. All places of worship are closed. So all funerals are either at the graveside or in local crematoria. And of course there's restrictions on who can attend funerals now. Numbers are limited to immediate family only in many cases. But what I have found is that doesn't mean that we can't honour our loved ones, that we can't remember them and share wonderful stories and celebrate their life. And a few of us are putting some resources together to give you some hints and some tips on what you might want to think about if you're having to face this at the minute. You know, who's going to go to the funeral, how can you connect with others over social media. All the funerals that I've done, people have connected by Facebook or Zoom or WhatsApp while the service is taking place. And also things that you can do at home if you can't get to the funeral. We're going to give you some hopefully helpful advice about that. But I just wanted to say that even though we're not physically able to see you, we're still very much with you, that we still really, really want to connect to you all out there, and that you need to let us know how we can help you, and that we do think about you, and we can understand that circumstances for many of you are very difficult at the minute. But there's still positives. There's still ways of keeping in contact with one another, and we all still love each other. And I don't know that I've got a lot more to say. Even I am running out of words. So there's lots of people are saying hello, so I'm going to say hello back. It's all very exciting. But for now, in the words of RuPaul, I'm going to sashay away and have a cup of tea. And please get in touch. And all our love, all our best wishes from all of us at the hospice. Bye-bye.